Welcome back to the channel. On this episode, we're going to keep working on the trike. We're going to take and finish up the backrest section, get it all glassed in, get the corner braces all potted up, and then we're going to bond in our tail light section, get it all as part of the main structure. Once we're done with that, we're gonna try to start shaping out what the rest of the front end is gonna look like. So stick around. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you've been following this build for a long time, share it with a friend. And remember, hit that like button, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Alright, so I already got this all prepped. The blue on the inner edge, that is our cut line for the size of the panel we're making. We're gonna go ahead, I already got it waxed. We'll coat it with a layer of resin. We'll put our woven cloth first, and then we'll put chop strand on top of it, and then push out all the air bubbles, and then let it cure up. So what this does is it compacts all the layers down. So now we got a good consistency for resin all the way across this. So we'll let it cure up, and then we'll peel it off and trim it around. So all we did here is we waited till it tacked up or was bonded together, started to catalyze, but the epoxy itself was still a little bit soft. We could easily cut it, and that way it's less of a pain in the butt later on down the road. So we got it all cut out. So now next all we'll do is just peel it off in about 3-4 hours.
2 hours later.
Alright, so we got our sheet. It's nice and shiny, which is bad because we need to bond it down. So we'll scuff up the perimeter. We gotta notch it for these welds. And then we'll scuff up the aluminum as well and bond all this down. There we go. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and mix up some epoxy and get this bonded down. So we have some slightly thickened resin, that way we don't just sag down all over the place. And that way it helps to hold and fill in any voids or air pockets on the back side of the panel as it bonds. do is just tape it down here in the middle. Because right now it's gonna do this and slide down. So I want to take and go ahead and start filling this in. So we're gonna mix up some micro balloons with epoxy. Start getting all this back here potted in, and we need to make sure we get it up behind here to fill in that cavity too. When you're mixing micro balloons, you got to make sure you wear a respirator. Like, super important. This stuff is gonna clog up your lungs. Not gonna have a good time.
Bro, I'm straight up not having a good time.
Alright, so we got the first layer on here. We're gonna make sure that it doesn't sag out. We're gonna let it tack up real good. So in about 2 hours, we'll come back while it's still chemically reactive and put another layer on there. That way it all bonds together as one strong fill. Looks like we got it all the way up into the cavity, so that's great. Yeah. So we'll let it set up and do another layer. So this stuff really is like bread. So when you're making the dough, you keep adding flour until you get the right consistency. So that's all you guys saw me do. This is coat number 2. We're gonna do one more coat. Got a little bit more right here on this edge. This side's pretty good. Just a couple little tiny pinhole areas that we wanna top off. But other than that, this side's pretty much finished. That side, maybe one more coat. So once we get all that, then we're gonna sand it all and then start laying our fiberglass all the way in the tub. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and sand the body fill areas and then sand the infill on those braces. Get it all set so we can put down our next layers of fiberglass. Alright folks, so that's pretty good. I had to do a little bit of backfilling, but not too bad. Let it tack up and that should be good to go. What I'm going to do, I want to take in these corners, outside corners, I just want to notch them off. So just grind them down and give us a little bit more of a transition on the corners. I'm not too upset with the top part. I think that's fine. It'll look good. So I'm good with that. It's just these outside corners that I want to crop off and give it a little bit more of a transition. So we'll go ahead and do that right now, and then we'll start doing more glass work. I think we're gonna take this off real quick. Well, reason I want to pull this off right now is I'm gonna have to redo all this tape up here after we cut it. Plus, it's a good idea to just start fresh. So far though, it's nice and hard, other than this one area where it was thin on the transition, but we'll be putting more fiberglass on that later on down the road. So, it's got a good shape to it. I like it, so we'll go with it. So, one more thing we're gonna do. We're gonna add some wings coming out at about a 45 right here, and on this side as well. And those are gonna be to help hold your shoulders in there. So that way when we're in a turn, our body's pushing against those and not leaning out of the damn trike. So I'll go ahead, make up some flaps with some braces, so that way they're at the right angle on both sides, and then we'll just oversize them and then we'll trim them down afterwards. Alright, so we got our molds right now. We're gonna put some masking tape down on the front side. Like so. Nope, that's too short. Then we're gonna wax both sides, and that way it releases off of this plastic, but it will stick to our fiberglass on the other side. Alright, so we're gonna start this with just 2 layers. And then we can build on it as we get more layers built up. So I went ahead and pre-wet these. That way we can just lay them down in place. So that's going to be it for this episode. We're gonna let this cure up, and then next we're gonna start on these corners, get our front area kind of situated, what we want the front section to look like, and start doing our seat pan. So I'll catch you on the next episode. Like, share, subscribe. See you next time.